Chapter 10. Next day, 8 a.m. Ace headquarters, sleeping area.
Breakfast!
Jameson opens his eyes.
Where the hell am I?
He mumbles.
I know that feeling.
Someone says on his left-hand side. Jameson looks around to see a strange man sitting up in his camp bed rubbing his eyes. He begins to remember his situation and his surroundings. Underground. In the subway.
With the terrorists?
Breakfast!
Someone calls out again. He sits up and unzips his sleeping bag and climbs out. It is fairly cold, so he quickly slips his coat and shoes on. He follows the tunnel until he can catch a wondrous smell.
Pancakes?
He takes the tunnel to the dining area at the cross-section and finds the young cook making pancakes on a small frying pan. Jameson takes a moment to watch the boy as he flips one and then scoops it onto a plate of several other cooked pancakes. There is a selection of preserves, fruit and vegetables, condiments, juice and coffee available, set out on another table. Jameson helps himself to a plate and a fork and 2 pancakes from the pile. He forks some red onion, sliced green chilli and capers onto one pancake with a splash of balsamic vinegar. He then spoons some raspberry jam and blueberries onto his other pancake.
Nice choice.
The cook notices, nodding his approval.
So, what?
Jameson says, playfully looking around.
No bacon and eggs?
This time the cook does laugh, remembering their previous encounter. The boy's smile is endearing, and Jameson takes an instant shine to him. A fleeting thought of the potential danger this young person is in flashes through Jameson's mind.
He's just a kid. Caught in the middle. Or is he here of his own volition?
Hey, enjoy the jam. I made it myself.
The boy smiles. Jameson manages a melancholic smile.
Thanks. I'm sure I will.
He lingers for a moment, wanting to engage with the boy a little longer, but the room is busy and the boy turns to dish up some more pancakes for the next hungry person in line. Jameson takes his plate of pancakes and heads back down the tunnel. When he reaches the cross-section, he turns left and follows the tunnel to the platform, which is also busy. People prodding keyboards and flitting from one workstation to the next, buzzing and vibrating, passing messages to each other like dancing bees in a hive. Some are sipping coffee, still wakening up. Jameson finds an empty workstation and sits down to eat his pancakes. He watches the group as they work.
As far as terrorists go, they all seem really nice so far. Even the weird main man. He doesn't come across as an evil, cold-blooded killer. But there is definitely something odd about him.
How's your pancake?
Someone asks. Jameson looks around with a mouthful. Penny stands looking down at him.
Delicious.
He says, covering his mouth with one hand, trying not to spit food in Penny's direction.
I don't know who that cook is, but he should open his own restaurant.
Well, you should know him.
Penny says, with a flash of emotion across her face that raises Jameson's eyebrows. She finds her smile again.
I just mean you should get to know him. He's a really good kid, bright. He's my little brother.
Jameson looks at her, surprised.
He's too young to go on missions, so he helps in the ways he can, and yes, he's a wizard in the kitchen. All cruelty-free, organic, vegan food.
Of course.
Jameson smiles.
Of course. How did you sleep?
I was out like a light.
Big day today.
Yes.
How are you feeling about tonight's mission?
Yeah, ready for it. Ready to release those poor imprisoned critters and unleash some chaos.
Penny smiles, tilting her head. She looks almost sympathetic.
That's the spirit. Well, I'll let you finish your breakfast. Fine-tune the mission later?
Yes, I'll find you.
Penny walks off down a different subtunnel.
Where does it lead?
Jameson scans the room. No sign of the main man yet. He finishes his breakfast and takes a stroll down the tunnel that Penny had taken. It snakes for a while before opening out onto another platform, an access tunnel between platforms.
How many tunnels and platforms are down here?
Jameson asks himself.
A lot.
Comes a coarse voice. Jameson follows the direction of the voice and spots the main man in a hammock, swinging gently, supported between 2 pillars. There is a bright beam of sunlight shining down from somewhere high in the ceiling onto him.
Enough to get lost in and possibly starve to death. Morning. That's a cheerful thought to start the day with. I hope I'm not intruding. Not at all. I should do morning radio, shouldn't I?
Good morning, listeners, and this one is for all those commuters stuck in traffic or crammed into a train, the ones who truly hate their job and position in the world, the ones wasting their potential and the best part of their day working for a company that doesn't respect them and is ultimately detrimental to the planet. It's Katrina and the Waves with Walking on Sunshine. Slavery for survival. And don't feel good. Hey, all right now.
Jameson chuckles and slowly walks over.
And here's a special message from your host with the most while you're eating your toast. The single most compassionate act you can do today, this moment, is to go into a forest alone and kill yourself. But hey, why not just enjoy that dumb fuck's coffee instead, listeners?
Yeah, something like that.
Jameson says, raising an eyebrow.
What's on your breakfast plate this morning? Sliced pig flesh and chicken ovulation, anyone? Why not blitz it in a blender and drink it with a straw?
You think that people would appreciate the blunt honesty, but I'm sure it wouldn't be long before your show got pulled.
Why is it that when we get into the heart of it, people just want to switch off?
It's too big for them. And like you say, most just want to do their job for their survival credits.
If they really thought about the god-awful system they passively support and perpetuate, really stopped and thought about it, they too would go insane.
They, too?
The main man just smiles.
I'm not insane, I suppose. Eccentric, zany, passionate, yes. But insane? Actually, okay, maybe I am a little bit insane. No, scratch that. I'm clearly insane.
Perhaps we all are.
You only have to take a look around you. Needless death, disease, and destruction. Humans fucking over animals. How many animals do you think had to die to become breakfast this morning?
Jameson thinks for a moment. He knows it is a lot.
Over 3,000 animals die every second in slaughterhouses worldwide.
The man says, with a desperate expression.
Over 70 billion. Billion! A year. And that is just the official numbers. You know, people say there is a human population problem. That we can't feed everyone. That there aren't enough resources. What's the latest count? 7 billion humans? Now 8 billion? When we consider that we are feeding our own food, grains, soil, water, to 10 times our own population, the problem isn't a lack of resources. It's how we allocate them.
70 billion? Jameson says, shocked.
Like I said, those are just the official numbers. In reality, counting all the fish and the animals that perish at the hands of medical pseudoscience, and the billions of male chicks that are fed into a grinder while they are still conscious, and so on, and so on, and on and on. All those lives that the official weight count leaves out, the numbers reach into the trillions. Trillions of animals a year. It's impossible to even comprehend that number. In fact, it is unquantifiable. Now that is insane. So what does that say about us as a species? We still enslave each other, let alone the animals. Still slaughter each other. Such violence and rampant insanity.
Jameson considers the new knowledge, the numbers. The scale of it all exceeds his ability to imagine the slaughter, the suffering.
Is it natural? Is it required? Can we exist without it? Can humans sustain feeding 10 times their own population?
He understands that these people care about animals, that there is a certain amount of honor in defending creatures that can't defend themselves. He can see the passion in the eyes of this man as he speaks.
This isn't a fad, a fraud, or a fleeting glimpse into the ethics of animal rights. This man lives it. Perhaps hyper-empathic, bipolar, but psychopathic, a murderer? There's nothing in his behavior aside from some quirkiness to suggest he is the killer. Not yet.
Do you not feel it? Leech from you, Archer?
The main man asks, staring intensely into Jameson's eyes.
It feeds on your life force, your passions, your creativity. It hollows you out and puts itself back in. Do you not feel all that madness saturating into your soul? Quelling some emotions and fueling others. It can make you seek righteousness, peace,
he says, looking up to the light. He pauses and then returns his gaze to Jameson.
Or it can make you twisted, dangerous.
Jameson is disturbed by the man's glare.
Yes, sometimes.
He nods. The main man seems to take comfort in Jameson's answer, but then gazes back at him with sympathetic eyes.
Don't worry. When we win this war, there will be a new order in this world. Not born from tyranny or slavery, but of compassion, peace, community. A saner, gracious civilization for animals and humans.
Jameson can't help but nod in approval at the vision of the future, although he realises that he does not agree with the methods that Ace are using to achieve that vision, and he can't help but feel that that future is a long way away.
And I thought we were just releasing some monkeys.
The main man seems to harden his gaze. He smiles.
One battle at a time,
He says, holding his stare, until Jameson blinks and looks away.
Besides, it's not just monkeys we are releasing tonight. Dogs, rabbits, mice, they all count.
Of course. I was just trying to be funny. You said you liked a sense of humor?
The man slowly eases himself out of the hammock and stands up. He squints his eyes at Jameson.
What are you? Some kind of smart ass?
He says coldly. Jameson senses the change in atmosphere and panics slightly.
What?
He asks, shaking his head.
Sorry, no, I was kidding around. I didn't mean to come across as trying to be smart or anything.
Are you ready for this mission tonight or not?
The main man demands, raising his voice.
Yes, of course.
Ooh, 'cause only last night you didn't sound so sure.
I slept on it, and I feel more confident today, so...
There is a tense pause. Someone giggles from behind Jameson. He turns to see Penny approaching, clutching a laptop in one hand. Her other hand is in a falconry gauntlet. A large black crow is perched on the glove. She smiles at Jameson. The crow caws and flies past him, making him jump. It lands on a perch next to the main man, who watches Jameson.
Corvus Brachyrhynchos.
Jameson shakes his head.
Corfu broken nachos?
The main man glances at Penny. She just nods.
The crow.
Jameson catches on.
Ah, yes, the bird. The scientific name? Latin, isn't it?
Yes,
Penny says as she stands next to Jameson.
the American crow, to be precise.
Of course.
Jameson smiles and nods.
Yes, crows. One of the most intelligent creatures on the earth. Opportunistic, adaptable, with a photographic memory for faces. You piss off a crow, it'll remember you. Might even sneak up and bite you in the ass. Found in every continent of the world, bar Antarctica. Even the crows adhere to the Antarctica Treaty. You see, they communicate to each other using two dialogues. The usual crow, you hear for interaction with the rest of the general crow world. And another dialogue.
He approaches the bird. He reaches up and strokes its head.
A more intimate voice.
The main man says softly as the bird closes its eyes, enjoying the sensation. The crow's chest bellows and it opens its beak. But a strange, almost electronic, fluttering chirp comes out of its mouth. Jameson stares at it, astonished, as it does it again.
It's a voice just for family. And they're extremely loyal to their family.
The main man says, glancing intensely at Penny again. He turns to Jameson.
You know they call a group of crows a murder of crows.
He says, with a very slight grin and a gleam in his eyes like electricity. Jameson doesn't know what to say. He is too preoccupied with the way the man had put a certain emphasis on the word murder.
But of course, being an animal lover like us, you know all this stuff already, don't ya?
Well, I knew they were intelligent, but never knew all the rest. Fascinating stuff.
Jameson stammers, unnerved by the man's lingering glare. He approaches the bird.
They are lovely birds.
He says, and reaches out to tickle it under its chin. The crow scolds at him and pecks his finger.
Jesus, devil bird!
He cries, pulling his hand away and stumbling backwards. The main man gives Penny another glance. She gently and discreetly shakes her head. The main man turns to Jameson and sniggers.
Guess he doesn't consider you part of the family yet.
He says, laughing. But there is a seriousness in his eyes.
Oh, don't mind Edgar, Archer.
Penny smiles.
He's just teasing you. If he wanted to hurt you, he'd have gone straight for your eyes.
I'll consider myself lucky.
Jameson says, holding his stinging finger and taking one more step back. Jameson notices the main man glaring at him again.
Anyway,
Penny says, breaking the awkwardness. The main man's expression softens as he gazes at Penny.
how about instead of playing games,
She says, looking directly at the main man, who just shrugs in feigned innocence.
we go over tonight's mission?
Good call.
He says, smiling. Jameson just shakes his head, trying to shake his uneasiness off.
Sure. Yeah.
He says, shooting an awkward glance at the main man. Penny walks over to a nearby table and opens her laptop. Jameson and the main man join her. On the screen is a map of Africa. She closes that window and opens another map of downtown Cincinnati.
Okay, let's start with route.